not able to get in. I don't know why, because there's several of you here, I think, or maybe you're in the waiting room. Let's see. I think you're all in the waiting room. Yeah, technology. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right, I had to admit you all. This is my first time doing this. So, sorry about that. I'm admitting all of you. Okay, so most of us are on our backs right now, or maybe it's just Karen because she was here and I admitted her earlier. So Karen, I hope you're okay, but can you just go ahead and hang out there for a bit? We're going to go ahead and repeat what we just did. So grab your ball or your pillows. And Karen, you can just chill out there since you've already been through this. You're going to lay down on your back and you're going to lift your hips up and either place the ball or your Pilates ball or your pillows underneath your sacrum. So that's your tailbone. So go ahead and lift your hips up and place the pillow underneath you or the ball. And then go ahead and bring your arms alongside your body. And then bring your pointer finger and your thumb together. So once you've brought your pointer finger and your thumb together, go ahead and start to tune in and feel your body. So you might experience a little bit of a heartbeat between your finger and your thumb. Now if you don't, that's okay. Just imagine it if you don't actually feel it. Your eyes are hopefully closed or just a quiet mind. So you're focusing maybe gently on the ceiling. And then if you feel that heartbeat, use that heartbeat as your guide to breathe. So you'll use that heartbeat. It's a 4 heartbeat count in. And you'll breathe into your belly. You'll breathe into your sides of your ribs. You'll breathe into your back. And then pause at the top and use your heartbeat again to guide you for 2 or 3 counts at the top. And then it's a slower heartbeat count exhale. So maybe 5 heartbeat counts out. And then pause. And again, using your heartbeat as your guide. So you'll keep going just like that. Let's go ahead and do that 3 more times. Thank you for joining me. Took me a minute to realize I had to let you guys in. Sorry about that. Technology. I mentioned earlier, and only Karen heard it because she was here, but I mentioned earlier, so my understanding is that sometimes when you have a few people joining you, that the internet, the bandwidth, something, I don't know, again, I'm not a techie, can sort of pause, and if that's the case, no worries. I'm actually recording this on my phone as well. And so if there's any issues at all, I will send you the recording. And then that way you can do it again later anyway. All right, so just one more big, big breath in and out. And then you'll slowly start to lift your hips and you'll remove the ball or the pillows. And staying on your back, keep your knees bent. If they're not already, go ahead and bend them. And then feet are as wide as your mat. And it's a gentle windshield wiper of the legs side to side. So the knees will rock one way and then the other way. slowly side to side. All right. So hopefully you have maybe a tennis ball or a yoga tune-up ball. So you'll take your tennis ball or your yoga tune-up ball, and if you don't worry, I'll give you an option. So it's just one, okay, one or the other. So you'll lift your hips and you'll place the ball right in the middle of your glute. So in the big fleshy part of your glute. Okay. So we'll put it on the right side. So I'll talk you through the right side. So lift your hips and place the ball under your right glute. And then clamshell the right knee out and in and out and in. And it's very slow, and you'll keep checking back in and see if you need to move the ball a little up, a little down, a little right, a little left, and go ahead and do that. And so we'll probably take this class until about 5 or so after 8 because we started late because I didn't know how to let you guys in. But if you need to leave early, that's no problem. All right, so once you feel like you've found the location that the ball really needs to be, and that's the place where it feels stuck, but no sharp shooting pain, you're able to continue with deep breaths. That's the place it needs to be. And then once you do that, leave that right knee out. And then you'll start to move your hips side to side. So just like a little hula dance. And some of you have heard me say this before, but I had a client one time that just could not figure that out, and I just said Shakira, and that was it. They understood. Shakira, Shakira. The hips go side to side, so side to side. And pause if you feel you have a location where the ball needs to stay, and again, that means it feels a little stuck, but there's no sharp shooting pain, there's no numbness. You're able to continue to take a deep breath. That's most important. And then you can even sort of lean in towards the ball. So lean a little to the right and then come back out. So this is like a pumping action. So it's a little different than what we were doing, which is kind of a cross fiber. If you're not sure what I mean, you can look up and check it out on your screen. So I'm leaning to the right and I'm coming back out. Now, if none of this feels like it's doing what it needs to do, and it's possible because here at home, I'm on the carpet, so maybe I need a little more pressure. You could sit up, and you could do some of those clamshells again, or you could move around up and down in a circle. Now, if you don't have a ball at home, I'm going to already take you into what's next. If you have a ball, keep doing what you're doing. If you do not have a ball, you're going to be going into a yin stretch. So this isn't a true half pigeon. This is a 90-ish and 90-ish degree angle on the legs, and my right leg is forward. So again, this is only if you don't have a ball. We'll all be doing this later, but just not for as long. So if you don't have a ball, you'll take this 90-90 on the legs, and then you'll start to move your body forward over your shin. Check that out, maybe over the knee or maybe over the foot. And you'll stay there. If your knee is not happy, maybe place a pillow underneath it so you can support yourself with a pillow or a block. So check that out. And again, if you're doing the ball, you'll stay there. Close your eyes perhaps, check in. Are you able to take a deep breath still? All right, so for those of you using the ball, go ahead and sit up. We'll all place the ball more on the outer upper right hip. So, gluteus medius, for those of you who know anatomy. I'll come a little bit closer here. So it's right in this area right here. Now, it might press a little bit on a bone. If you have a yoga tune-up ball, that's probably not going to be a problem at all. If it's a tennis ball, it might be uncomfortable. So just find the location. There's a little pocket in there where it should settle in. I'm not going to say it's going to be comfortable, but it should be tolerable. So you can stay on your hand or you can come down on your right forearm. And we'll do some of those clamshells again. Now again, if you're doing the yin stretch, just stay there. If you're over the knee, maybe stay over the knee. If you're over the foot, maybe move. So just check it out. Maybe play with which angle you're leaning in if you're still doing the stretch. And again, we'll all go to the stretch, but for right now, if you don't have a ball, just stay there. And again, a little clamshell, and then I might start to move around, moving around. Check back in with your breath over and over and over again. Over and over. Check back in with your breath. Okay. So 2 more deep breaths. And when you're ready to come out of that, we'll come out. Okay. So if you've been doing the stretch, you'll start to make your way out of that stretch, and I'll show you something else you'll move into. If you haven't been doing the stretch, we're going to all come into that now. So it's a 90-ish and a 90-ish degree angle on both legs. Check in with your knees. If they don't like it, support with a pillow. You'll come forward over your shin or your knee, and it's my right leg forward, or maybe my foot. So you'll find the angle that makes the most sense for you. And stay there and breathe. Now, if you were doing the stretch already, I'm going to give you another one to do. It's the figure 4. And if the one in the floor doesn't work for you, you can join me for a figure 4 as well. So right ankle over left thigh. Okay, so whichever you're doing, stay there and deeply breathe, maybe close your eyes. So I'm really proud of all of you. This is a time that we could all use a little bit of reprieve. So I'm proud of you for showing up for you and doing something to create a parasympathetic environment in your body. So that's rest, recover, digest. So over and over, science shows that fear and stress actually depletes the immune system. So honestly, this is one of the best things you can do for yourself. All right, so whichever you're doing right now, whether it's the figure 4 or the one on the floor, the 90-90, will all come up. If you have a ball, we're going to go to the other side. So you'll be on your left glutes. The big fleshy part of your glute lay all the way down on your back. So lift your hips, the ball goes underneath your glute, and then the left knee starts to do like a clamshell. So the knee goes in and out until, and keep moving the ball until you find the place it really belongs. And you'll know where that is when you go, oh yeah, it's pretty stuck right there, but I can take a deep breath. I'm not freaking out. So very important, this work is to bring you into a parasympathetic state. It's to calm the nervous system. That doesn't mean you can't use it before you do exercise. It's still great to do before exercise. You can do it before, you can do it after. It can be used as a warm-up for your run or your bike or any exercise. All right, so leave the left knee out if you've got the ball underneath you, and then start to move your hips side to side, side to side. Now, if you don't have a ball, same as we did on the other side, you'll just come into a yin stretch early. And so the left shin comes in line with maybe the front of your mat if you're on a mat. and it's about a 90 degree, and the back leg is at about a 90 degree, and then you'll start to move your body forward. If you're using the ball, keep moving around however it makes sense for you to move around. And keep breathing. Deep breaths in, long breaths out. And for those of you who might want a little more, you can go ahead and sit up on the ball now. And it's still in the big fleshy part of your glute. We're not on the side yet. And again, you could do some clamshell type maneuvers with that left knee, or you can move around. So ways that you can make this less intense, if it's too intense, you could actually bring your ball to the wall and just do the same thing. So it goes against the wall, you'll lean in, move around. Okay? Do it on carpet. I'm doing it on carpet myself right now. So it's a little less intense than it normally would be in the gym or at a yoga studio, but sometimes that's just fine. And if you need more, either find a hard surface to do the work on, so maybe a hardwood floor, or even your kitchen floor, I guess. Careful you don't slip. Or a harder tool. And again, just a reminder, I don't use anything harder than a tennis ball. From my research and my studies, soft tissue prefers a softer tool. Lots of research out there showing that now. Okay, so we'll sit up now. So if you have the ball, you're going to be placing it on the outer upper hip here. Okay. If you don't have a ball, you can go ahead and start to switch into that figure 4. So if you have the ball, again, it's in the outer upper hip and leaning to my left. The ball's under my left hip. I'll do some clamshell type maneuvers with this left leg, so it's the bottom leg. And I could also move around, or I could come onto my forearm. And again, this can be kind of uncomfortable. There is a little pocket in there where you're not going to be digging into the bone, so see if you can find that. This can be pretty intense, so just listen to your body. Always coming back to the breath. If you're not able to take a deep breath, it's too much. Okay? We're going for parasympathetic system, the rest and digest. So take 3 more breaths. Or more or less. This is your practice. But when you feel ready, you'll start to move into the stretch on that second side. Okay. And if you don't have a ball, you can just come back to the stretch or stay in your figure 4 stretch. It's a reminder that if this doesn't feel great on the knee, you can support yourself with a pillow under the knee, or you might even choose to do the figure 4 instead. So that would be ankle over thigh and doing this one. Again, if you don't have a ball, you can go back to the first stretch, which was this guy right here. But we're all coming here over the shin, over the knee, or over the foot to feel something in the same area you were just stretching. If you've attended my classes, you've heard this 100 times, but the myofascial release work, it's so effective. The yin type stretching, where you're stretching the areas for lengthy periods of time, super effective. Now the combination is exponentially more effective. So I do a combo whenever I do an area that's really locked up. I do the combo because I know it's going to be more effective and last longer. All right, so So we're all going to come out of that now. Move around however you need. You can move your hips around, whatever feels good in your body. And then you'll take your ball and or one or two pillows. And again, I have these kinds of pillows off the couch. So they're a little bit sturdy, but they also have a little give. And you'll be laying on your belly on the ball. So the ball or the pillows go right at your belly button. Okay? And so you'll go ahead and lay down. And adjust, and then I'll show you with the pillows what it would look like. So you'll adjust the ball or the pillows so that they are pressing on your body, but you are not in any way, shape, or form not able to take a deep breath. So you should still be able to breathe. That is why the ball has a little bit of give. Okay, so we don't want the ball so hard that you can't breathe and your belly presses into the ball. So maybe close your eyes. I like to support my head with my hands or another pillow or a block. So you don't want your neck to be uncomfortable. And then we'll use that count again. Sometimes you even feel the heartbeat in your belly when you do this. So use that count again to breathe in for 4. Use the heartbeat for a 4 count in and a pause at the top, 2 or 3 count pause at the top, nothing that creates tension or stress. And then a slower exhale, maybe a 5 heartbeat count out. And then a pause at the bottom again. And you'll keep going like that. So the gut, where you're pressing on right now, super, super important. Right now, especially, our lymph system is throughout the body, but a tremendous, like the majority of our lymph is in our gut. So if it's tight in there, that lymph can't go where it needs to go, up into the system. The lymph is, of course, part of what fights off disease. Super important right now to boost your immune system, massaging your belly. So whether you're on the ball or whether you're on the pillows, you'll start to just slowly rock your hips side to side. So a little cross fiber work on your belly. And it's nice and slow. And do the pillows. Now the other reason you may want to release this area is because your hip flexors, many of us are tight, especially if you sit a lot. They connect your leg to your torso, but most people think that it stops, and you probably are looking down so you won't see, but maybe you'll look at the video later. Most people think it stops right at your hip bones, but your hip flexors actually go all the way up and connect into your spine way up by your rib cage. And so if they're tight in this area, that can affect your back, make you have a sore back. It can certainly affect the actual hip flexor on the leg, so it can make it difficult to run fast, or even, potential injuries can show up. So really important. All right, 3 more breaths. You can keep moving. You can stay still and breathe. So once you have finished your 3rd breath, or you can stay longer, or you can come out, your choice, your practice. But when you're ready, you'll come out, and we'll come onto hands and knees, and start to move through some cat-cows. Now these cat-cows, I'm going to have you isolate a little bit more through the thoracic spine. So that is where your rib cage is, middle back. So most people just simply dump into the low back when they do cat-cow. I'd like you to think of stepping the hands an inch forward maybe than you normally do, and then lengthen and pull the heart forward from your rib cage. Now I'm not cranking on the neck. I'm lengthening and I'm pulling my body forward. And I'm not trying to hyperextend in the low back. In fact, I might even keep my core a little tight so that I don't actually dump into the low back. And then drop the chin, press into the hands, and then really press down, almost like your hands are going to slide forward, and feel the middle and upper back really start to release. And do it again, move forward, lengthen through the spine. You'll feel a little stretch in the belly, and that's great, but we're not necessarily trying to dump into the low back, so be careful about that. And slowly moving back and forth just like that. Really thinking about it being more of this middle thoracic spine than the low back. Good. And then one more like that. Good. Beautiful. Okay. So, perfect. If you have your tennis ball, grab it. Get your yoga tune-up ball, grab it. And we're going to start to do a release for your upper trapezius area. So that's going to be up in here. Okay. And if you don't, I'll show you again a yin stretch that you can start off with. So you're going to lay down with the ball at that upper trapezius area. So it's on my right side. Let's all start on the right so I can talk you through it. Okay, and find the place again where you're feeling something, but you can still take a deep breath. Now the more you lean towards it, of course, the more pressure you'll have. The more you lean sort of away from it, the less pressure you'll have. And then you'll start to move your right arm through like a range of motion, almost like a snow angel. Good. And then start to get intuitive about this. So maybe the arm then crosses the body and comes out. Just really loosey-goosey. So soften your elbow. Be sure you're not getting fast or aggressive with this. You might make some circles with the arm, drawing like a big giant circle on the ceiling. Now, of course, you could just simply relax your arm and stay and breathe. If you're not feeling much, move it to a little bit different location, a little left, a little right, a little up, a little down. And if it's so intense, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, move to the wall. This is another one that can absolutely be done at the wall. You just put the ball against the wall and lean in. Now, if you don't have a ball and you're joining me for the yin element, you can start to move into the stretch that we will all be doing. And that's to slide your right arm underneath you. It's called thread the needle. And then laying down on the arm. Okay? If you have a ball, keep going with the ball. And again, maybe close your eyes and start to really breathe here. So you have 3 more breaths on this side. And when we're done with this side, we'll just switch sides. And if you're doing the yin stretch, again, you'll just switch sides for the stretch. But if you're doing the second side with the ball, again, you'll find the upper trapezius area and you'll lay down. If it's too much, go ahead and find your wall and do it up against the wall. Be careful if it's a tennis ball, they can be a little more slippery. And then once you have the ball situated, start to move your arm through that really just soft movements with the arm, like a snow angel, and across the body. Maybe I'm making circles on the ceiling. Again, if I lean towards it, I'm going to feel more. If I lean a little away, I'm going to feel a little bit less. So check in and be sure that you're doing what's appropriate for you. Keep breathing, whether you're in the stretch already or whether you're doing the ball release. And we'll all take 3 more breaths wherever you are. And then you'll start to make your way out, whether you already did the stretch or whether you didn't already do the stretch. So if you didn't already do the stretch, I'll talk you into that, and then if you did, I'll give you another one to do. So come onto your hands and your knees. And the first thing, in fact, whether you did the stretch or not already, go ahead and join me for this. The right hand will go behind your head. I'm going to turn around this way. So the right hand will go behind your head. Elbow spins up towards the ceiling. Take a big breath in. Now you'll start to move your right elbow under and across towards your left knee and round your spine. So it's the middle back rounding, thoracic spine, the area we released earlier also in the cat-cow, under and across. One more, and then we'll do the stretch. So under and across, round your spine. And then reach way up high, breathe in, and then exhale. Now we'll all slide the arm under and across. Now if you already did this stretch, you're welcome to do it again, or you have the option to make it a little bit more intense, and I'm going to offer this option again to everybody. So if you're not feeling what you want to feel here, go ahead and lay all the way down on your belly. Be careful. So now I'm laying on top of my arm, but I'm still spinning my chest towards the floor. So I'm not rolling away from it. I'm actually still rolling right on top of my arm. So you do what's appropriate for you. So when you do the combination of the rolling and the stretching, you don't need to do the stretch as long. So if you're just doing yin stretches, we really recommend no less than 2, but more like 3, 4, or 5 minutes holding a stretch. But if you do the rolling and the stretching combo, you only really need about 90-ish seconds of each. Keep breathing wherever you are. And we'll go about 3 more breaths. Any sharp shooting pain, please back it off. Adjust the camera over here. Okay, start to make your way out. And then we'll all come to the other side. So this time the left hand will come behind your head. Elbow spins up towards the ceiling. I'm moving from my middle back. And then I exhale under and across to the opposite knee. And I'm thinking of my middle back. That's where I'm rotating from. So not my low back. And exhale under and across. And you do it again. Inhale, up, up, up. Down and under, exhale. And then this time reach up, breathe in. slide all the way under and across with a straight arm. Thread the needle. Stay right here or come all the way down onto your belly. Now, oftentimes that second side is going to be a little bit different. So check it out. Make sure that you're not just assuming it will be the same. And keep breathing. Keep breathing. So these upper trap areas and the back of the shoulders, when they get tight, oftentimes our neck gets really stiff as a result. So getting all of this loosened up is really important. Start to make your way out very slowly. And then if you have two balls, whether you have them inside a tote like this, or you have two tennis balls inside of a sock, then you'll use that. If you only have one, you can still use just the one. It will be more intense with one. We're going to be releasing the front of the thigh. So be careful. And again, if you're on carpet, you'll have some absorption, so it maybe won't be as intense, but regardless, be careful. So you'll be laying down on your belly, and you'll be putting the balls right above your thigh, or your knee. So you want to make sure it's not on the knee joint itself, but above. So right above, and you'll be laying down. So let's all start on the right side, so I can talk you through it. So right above the knee. And first, just check it out, see how it feels. And again, I'll show you what it would look like with a single ball. So here's my single tennis ball. So maybe what happens is I just lean a little away from it if it's really intense with the single ball. Okay? If you don't have a ball, I'll show you what to do in just a second. So if you do have the ball underneath you, you can start to do some movements like a bend and straighten of the leg. You can do some side-to-side movements, whether it's a single or a double ball. Check that out. If you're not feeling much there, you might start to then move up and find a different location, moving up and down. And again, you might even go just up and down the leg. So if you don't have a ball, I'm going to have you go ahead and also lay down on your belly, just like you are. And with the right hand, reach back, and if you can, grab your right foot. If you need a little strap or a towel to help you out, maybe go grab that. But if you're using the ball right now, just keep rolling with the ball. Now you could even do that with the ball underneath you. That changes it. Whoop, there went my ball. So be careful about that. That's the one, perhaps, downfall with the tennis balls. They do sometimes run away. Now if you have the balls again, you can move up and down. You can move the leg side to side, do some cross fiber work. Bend and straighten. And then you can start to get a little creative. Maybe you start to take it more to the inner thigh. So I'm kind of leaning off to my left, and it's right above my knee on my right side. If that doesn't feel like it's doing enough for you, you have the option to place the balls on a block. And that just creates a little more pressure. I'm going side to side, I'm bending and then straightening. You could also do some internal and external rotation of the hip. And of course, I'm sitting up, but you don't have to. You can lay down and just simply relax the rest of your body. And if you are just doing the stretch for right now, I'm going to have you switch sides. So we'll spend all of us about 5 or 6 more breaths doing what we're doing. Checking back in with your breath over and over and over again. So important. I think we're all learning a little lesson in our new circumstance right now that sometimes slowing down is not so bad. We're all learning that right now. We live in a society that tends to go, 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 rush, 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 more, more, more. Sometimes a little less or a little slower is what we need. Okay, so we're going to move to the second side. So with the balls on top of your left, above your left knee, so on the thigh. 1 ball, 2 balls, whatever you have. Now, if you were just doing the stretch, you're going to go ahead and move on to the stretch that everybody's going to do afterwards. And that's going to be where you lay down on your side. And it's a quadricep stretch again. And you actually grab the bottom foot for this quad stretch. Okay, so if you do not have a ball, you'll already move on to this one. Okay, so if you're doing the stretch, it's the bottom leg that you're reaching for, whether it be with your hand or a strap. Sometimes it's nice to support yourself with some pillows or a block on the knee that is forward. So if it's my bottom left knee leg that I'm stretching, it would be the right top leg that I would support. And we'll all go into the stretch in a moment. Now, if you're doing the rolling, remember you can roll up and down the leg. You can bend and straighten side to side. Just be careful if you've got a single ball, it might want to run away. No rush at all, but eventually if you'd like to do the inner part of your thigh, you could do it on top of a block or just on the floor is fine. I'm releasing the tissue right by my knee. So check in with your own body. You know what you need. 3 more breaths. And when you're ready to come out, release, set things kind of off to the side. If you were already doing the side lying stretch, go ahead and roll over to the other side. For the rest of us, go ahead and lay down on your right side. I'm going to be using a block, and the block is simply to keep my hips square. It feels better on my back. If you don't need it, you don't have to use it. And now I'm bending my bottom right leg, so I'm laying on my right side, and I'm reaching around and I'm catching my foot. Okay, you keep doing that. I'm going to flip around so you can see something. So what we don't want is a big hyper extension in the back. Okay? I'm actually doing a tiny bit of a tuck under, and then I'm pulling back. And the reason for that is because I'm not trying to turn it into a big back extension. I'm trying to stretch my quadricep. Now play with how much you're actually bending the knee. So sometimes, and again I'm just going to come here so you can see, so sometimes keeping the leg a little straighter and pulling back, and again it's your bottom leg, but I'm just doing this upright so you can see, will work better on your knee. Sometimes bending it and then pulling back. So check in. If your knees don't like a lot of bend, don't do a lot of bend. Just start to pull backwards. You want to start to feel something in the thigh and up into even the hip flexor. All right. Slowly release that. Roll to the other side. And then if you were already doing the stretch, if this is possible in your body, you'll do this one. Okay, so I'm just going to show you two more ways to stretch your quads, or one more way to stretch your quads if you're doing just the yin stuff and no ball stuff. You can pull the foot back and do an upright quad stretch. So all of these are great quad stretches. One or the other is going to work better for your knees. So listen to your body. Everybody else, you're doing the side lying one. You're going to be doing, again, top leg forward and then bottom knee bends. And again, be careful with how much you bend that knee and how much you're arching your spine. So really pay attention to that. Okay. So again, if you weren't doing any of the ball stretching, take a couple breaths or the ball releases, and then you'll go ahead and just switch sides. So if you're only doing the stretching, you'll go ahead and switch sides. Now everybody else still side lying. And we'll all take 3 more breaths wherever we are. And then we'll go ahead and release that. Okay. So if you have the double ball in a sock or in your tote, you're going to be using that, and you're going to be bringing that more to the middle upper back. Okay? If you only have the single ball, you'll be doing the same thing just on one side. Okay? So the single ball is not on my spine, it's to the side of my spine. If you're doing the single ball, go ahead and place it on your right side. And then you may want a pillow or a block for your head. For some people, this gets a little dangly on the neck and it's uncomfortable. So you can lay down now with that more towards the middle upper back. So just a tad above the bra line. That makes sense for most of you. So if you've got the double ball, that's where it's going to go. Single ball, same thing, just off on the right side. Now, it can be pretty intense to have the single ball, so you might need to just slightly lean to the left so it's not as intense. And remember, this can be done against the wall. And regardless of whether you have the single or the double ball, the arms will reach up and you'll reach towards the ceiling, so you almost round out the back, and then exhale and soften in, and your shoulder blades kind of come together. And then reach, breathe in, and exhale, breathe out. And keep going like that. Breathe in and breathe out. And then give yourself a hug, wrap your arms around your body, and just start to move like a side to side, so like that. Good. And check in, maybe you need to move the ball or balls a little higher or a little lower to get what you want to get out of this. Good. Now if you have the single ball, go ahead and bring it to the other side. So it'll be on the left side of your spine now. And we'll do the same thing. And if you have the double ball, you can repeat this. So reach up towards the ceiling, the back kind of rounds out, the shoulder blades separate, and then exhale and soften in. And again, reach up and exhale, soften in. And up again, reach and soften. And again, arms crossed, give yourself a big hug, and just a soft and gentle wriggling side to side. And again, the ball can move up or down, left or right. Just not right on top of the spine if you have the single ball there. And 3 more breaths. finished with those 3 breaths, or whenever you feel like you're ready, you'll just start to roll off to one side. And once again, find your way onto your hands and your knees. And so once you find your way onto your hands and your knees, we'll start to make your way down into a reaching puppy dog or a reaching melting heart pose. So I'm going to be starting by walking both of my hands to the top left-hand corner of my mat. And then I'll come down onto my left elbow and really reach my right arm out. So I'm stretching into my lats on my right side, a little bit of that same area I might have been rolling just now. And breathe deep for 2 more big breaths in and out. And then slowly start to make your way to the other side. So I'm reaching towards the right corner of my mat. My right elbow is down and I'm really lengthening through my left side body. Keep doing that and breathing for about 3 more breaths. And very slowly start to make your way out. Okay, so if you have a ball, you'll be doing the ball here. And if not, then I will show you a stretch that you can do also. So you'll take your single ball, and I'll show you with the tennis ball and with the yoga tune-up ball. You'll be placing the ball right at the knee joint. Okay. And then very carefully sitting back. Okay, so again, I'll show you with the tennis ball, same thing. If that's like crazy, so intense, and you do have the option of a double ball, then you'll do that. Now, if your knees just will not bend like that, that's no problem. I will have you come down onto your back and start to do the stretch that we'll be doing after. So, and that's going to be a hamstring and calf stretch. So if you want to move into this, if the ball's not working for you, you'll be taking a strap, or if you're able to grab your own ankle or calf, that's fine, and pull the toes back towards your shin. Okay, but if you have the ball, again, it goes right there. And then you'll start to just really carefully move side to side. So be careful how much pressure you're putting on that ball. This can be really intense. If you're on a hard floor, you might want to give yourself a little cushion. I like to just fold my mat in half. A little cushion there. Okay. And you can start to move the ball down, and it'll only go so far. Eventually, the ankle is too skinny to have the ball stay there. But you can start to, again, move side to side. This gets the hamstring and the calf. Keep breathing. This, again, can be very intense. If you're doing the stretch, just keep doing the stretch for now. Okay. So if you haven't started to move it down a little bit, go ahead and do that. And then make your way to the other side, and that's true whether you're stretching right now or you're doing the ball release. So again, be very careful how much pressure you put on there. This can be very intense. Let's turn backwards again so you can see where I have the ball. And just some really gentle side to side movements. And as I mentioned, we had a little technical difficulty. It wasn't technical, it was me. I didn't know how to let everybody in. So we'll probably run over by 5 or so minutes. Totally understand if you need to leave early. That's completely understandable. I should have it all figured out by next week for sure. And I am planning on doing this again next week. Contact me if you're interested and I'll tell you how that's going to work. All right, if you haven't started moving the ball down, go ahead and move the ball down so it's a little bit lower on your calf. And then gently release. So if you have a strap, you will find it and you'll lay down on your back. If you don't have a strap, maybe a towel, or you can just grab the back of your leg or your calf. If you do have a strap, go ahead and hook your right foot. And you'll point and flex your foot. So if you were already doing the stretch, go back to your first side and then join us for this point and flex. Point the toes, flex the toes. Point and flex. And then eventually keep the toes pulled back towards the shin. Now this right leg needs to be quite straight for this. You'll start to move the leg just gently across the body, maybe 6 inches. So I'm not going all the way across. My hip bones are still square to the ceiling. This can be pretty intense, so be careful. Outside of this calf, outside of this right leg perhaps, IT band, hip even. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And come back to center and we'll switch sides. Pointing and flexing and pointing and flexing. And then once you come back towards the flexed position, this next time, toes towards the shin, left leg quite straight, start to move the leg ever so slightly across the body. You might feel the calf, you might feel the side of the knee, be careful about that. You might feel the outer part of your left leg. Take a breath in, take a breath out, and then come back. All right. Release your strap. If you have a double ball, you'll use that. If you have a single ball, you'll use that. If you have a block, you'll use that. Okay? So if you have a double ball, the balls are going to go on top of your block. If you have a single ball, same thing. If you don't have a block, don't worry about it. You'll still get something just directly on the floor. If you have a double ball, you're going to have them right at the nape of your neck on top of your block. Okay? If you have the single ball, it'll be similar. You'll have to hold it though so it doesn't go flying out. So especially if it's a tennis ball, it can slip out. So if you have that, great. If not, just go ahead and lay down with the ball behind you or balls behind you without the block. So again, if it's just on one side, you'll kind of have to hold it so it doesn't slip out. Okay, so I'm holding the ball here. And then I'm just going to do some gentle side to side movements. So it's still same position as if it were 1 or 2, right at the nape of my neck. And again, I'm just going to gently hold it with my hand so it doesn't slip out. If I'm on the floor, that's fine too. Maybe I put my hand under the ball to lift it up a little bit if I don't have a block. I can do some head movements, yes and no. I could draw some circles on the ceiling with my nose. All right, if you have a single ball, switch sides and place the ball under the other side. And that same thing. So again, I'm just, with no block, I'm holding the ball in my hand so that I'm lifted up a little bit still. If you have the double ball, just keep doing some gentle movements, side to side, up and down, circles. So if you have the double ball there and you're super comfortable and you feel like you could let absolutely everything go now, then you can keep them there. So we're going to move into a shavasana, a short shavasana, maybe 3 minutes. So if you feel like you can completely let go, then you can leave the balls. Otherwise, remove everything and go ahead and start to move into your final rest. So once you have yourself situated, take the biggest breath in, the biggest breath. Hold that breath, and then open your mouth and let something go. Let something go. Ever so gently begin to reawaken with some small movements in your body, your fingers, your toes, your ankles, your wrists. Take a big breath in, maybe reach your arms long back behind you. Breathe in and let it go. Roll over onto one side in a fetal position. And just taking this moment here to truly honor yourself for showing up for you. And then finding your way up to sit. And bringing your hands to your heart center once you've made your way up. A gentle bow of the head. So much gratitude. Thank you for this body. Thank you for this life. Thank you for this practice. Drawing your thumbs to your third eye. The divine light in me truly honors and sees the divine light in all of you. Namaste.